Have you heard?
Have you heard?
Have you heard? Martin University has made a quality education accessible, and now I can fast track and finish my degree in no time.
Applicable, so I can start earning and working in my career field while finishing my degree.
And affordable by lowering tuition costs as much as 45%.
So I can earn my degree debt-free.
Join us at the all-new Martin U. Don't wait. Register for spring classes now.
Happy Friday and welcome to Let's Talk Live with Martin U, the podcast bringing much needed community conversations to the table. Let's Talk Live with Martin U is an exciting, reverent, and educational podcast that digs deep into current topics, community involvement, and stories of our alumni success that only Martin University can deliver. I am Atia King, and joining me today is Jawann Johnson, Director of Equitable Justice Initiatives for NCREI. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Tia.
So I know some people know that you are a familiar face on this show, but there have been some adjustments since the new year has begun. So to get started, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what your role is here at Martin University.
Yeah, so again, my name is Jawann Johnson. I'm in a new role, which is Director of Equitable Justice Initiatives here at Martin University within the NCREI department. I've been at Martin University for 3 years, so since 2019. I first served as student success coach in the Student Success Center. And so that responsibility basically was just helping students, assisting students with different things that they had inside the classroom and outside the classroom. I then was able to get a new position, which was student success specialist. And within that position, it was more of the same as far as student success coach, but specialist was more of an added component, which was dealing with academic advising for students before we had academic advisors here on campus. So I had an opportunity to dive deeper and get to know students better within their academics. And then sometimes it became more personal to learn more students and their journey. And then after that, I was able to get another opportunity, which was Assistant Director of Student Success. And so that was all components basically in one title and one responsibility. And so there were some added things within that as well. But then just recently, I was now able to get a title, which was Director of Equitable Justice Initiatives. And I'm really excited about this opportunity in this position. This definitely deals with justice involved individuals who may have some interactions within the justice system. And so I have a background in that. I graduated from Indiana University, Bloomington in 2016 with a background in criminal justice. So I had an opportunity to learn more about the prison system, the pipeline when it comes to school and recidivism and things like that. So this new position here is definitely something that aligns with what I believe in for sure.
Nice. And I know you gave us just a little piece of the title and what that is. So what all will you be doing with this?
Right. So right now, we were able to receive a grant from CICF, which was the Elevation Grant. And within this grant, we had the opportunity to partner with Pace Indy, which is a local partner here in the city. And so with Pace Indy, they have a program that brings in justice involved individuals. And so with this new role, I have an opportunity to lead the HSE program, so which is the high school equivalency program here at Martin University. So we're using the HSE program to partner with Pace Indy to bring more students in, basically to receive their HSE. So it's a preparatory program. So I'm involved with recruiting students from Pace. I'm involved with the coordination. I'm involved with the management of the grant. And basically, this is just an opportunity for this HSE program here at Martin University to grow more generally. So and then also too, just bringing in more seminars involved that pertains to justice involved, get more awareness and talk about topics like recidivism and how that impacts everybody in our community. So those are some things that we're working on in this new role.
Nice. And before we continue diving deep into your new role, I want to do a little overview of your previous role from last year. You mentioned HSC, and I know that played a role within what you did with your title. And I just want to know how that was, just a little overview of what you did and the success from that.
Yeah, so while I served as an assistant director of student success, we brought in a lot of success within that department, and I had a lot of success in that responsibility. What I really did, I did a lot of things helping students who were academically involved as far as SAP. So those who fell below a certain threshold, and SAP is satisfactory academic progress. So it was my responsibility to identify those students early, and so the first stage was is academic warning, and so that's just an alert saying, hey, your GPA and your completion rate has fallen below a certain threshold. So this is just a warning to make sure that you are able to improve those in those certain categories. And then, like I said, HSC program, uh, we deal with a lot with drop ad. Early alert is a big one. Early alert is a program in the system that we identify students the midway point. And so that's saying, hey, you may not be on SAP, but here at week 4, you may have received a D right now, currently in your course. What's going on? Is there anything that I could do? So basically, I was able to bridge that gap between the professor and the student. So I was able to come in and basically have a one-on-one conversation with those students and asking them if there's something that I can do. Is there something more that the professor can do? Just stepping in as a liaison. Sometimes it became personal, like I alluded to earlier. Most interaction that I had with students were very personal. I think it was because of the more genuine connection that I was able to have with the students. So within that last role, it was a lot of student involvement, student engagement, something that we did. So put on different events as well. So it was something that prepared me, I would say, for this new role for sure.
I know you mentioned how certain things last year were successful, but I also know that the way that people measure success is completely different. So, how did you all measure success within student success?
Yeah, I mean, so there was a lot of different ways, right? So when I first stepped in student success, we had a lot of students who did not attend, who dropped out, who we couldn't find, right? We were able to put more programs and measurements in place for us to better identify those students and then create a better connection with those students. I think that was key when I stepped in my role, and that was just building connection with students. I feel like when students have an opportunity to trust you, especially with we're talking about non-traditional students. So students who are dealing with work and multiple jobs and family and kids and things of that nature, school is not always the number one priority. So they have to be able to figure out, okay, I am coming here, but sometimes they still don't even have a why. They feel like they need to go to school, but at the same time, I feel like it's somebody that needs to hold them accountable and push them to continue to move forward. So I will count that as a success. Graduation. I was able to see students who started off when I came in 2019, who honestly I never thought would graduate. Students dealing with disabilities, I never thought would be able to have an opportunity to walk across the stage. And so, looking into that and being able to be connected in that journey, I look at that as success for sure. Just being able to, like I said, connect with the student and help them along their journey. Just giving them that boost, that encouragement, whatever it was that they needed at the time. Yeah, so I look at those two things as success for sure. Also, students, right? Just academic advising. I think that uh, before we had an academic advisor, we had an opportunity to sit down and talk to students and talk to them about what their journey looked like after graduation, right? And so that was an opportunity for us to kind of create a plan and figure out what they needed to do to get to where they wanted to go. So that was another part of success, I would say.
Nice. So, prior to or after the enrollment and before graduation, how do you guys stay engaged with students in this role? And how do you continue to motivate them to continue getting closer to graduation? Because some people may, you may start working with them when they're a freshman and their senior year and graduation seems so far away. What else do you motivate them with to continue to get to that point?
It's kind of hard, honestly. It really comes to the point where if you have an opportunity to reach out to the student, you don't always reach out to students. And part of my role was it's almost like the negative police officer, because it was more when I'm connected with the student, it wasn't always positive. It was always mostly negative, like, hey, you're on SAP, or hey, you haven't attended class, or hey, I see that you haven't been in Canvas for a certain period of time. So it was almost like, and then that's when the connection became, well, I lost my job, or just extenuating circumstances became came about, and then so that's when you learn more about the student. However, when students are succeeding, it's almost like I talk to you when I talk to you, and I feel like there should be more of a better connection with those successful students too, because there's been a period of time where I haven't had a chance to communicate with some students who even cross the stage, and they may have a 3.8 GPA or 4.0 GPA, and obviously I'll see their name come across in some type of way. But as far as having that connection with all students, it's really not there. We're mainly focused on those students who, in some type of way, their success has been impeded in some way. So we're mainly focused on the retaining and the retention of those students. And so to retain those students, it's mostly the students who are not succeeding as well as those students who may have the better GPA or completion rate.
I know college prepared you for your new current role. How has the student success role prepared you, or what skills can you take from that that you know will be helpful in your
Yeah.
new role?
For sure. I think just organizational and just leadership, honestly. I had an opportunity to lead a couple people or supervise a couple people as far as work study students, people in HSE program. So it gave me an opportunity to know what leadership looked like. It gave me an opportunity to see, okay, what kind of leadership style do I want to implement to those who may be underneath me? And I don't always look at it as superior, because I feel like as a team, we always work together. There is someone always that you have to answer to, but I don't. And there's people that's older than me, that who may report to me, and I don't want to look at it as I'm the big boss, because I'm not. It's just that we also always have to hold each other accountable. But I think that's just that leadership style is what I learned mostly from, and just multitasking, and doing a lot of different things at once. Being responsible for a lot of different things at once. I was in student success, like I said, for 3 years, so I learned a lot in student success, the academics, the struggling of the students, the graduation. So I think that being able to have those interactions with those students in that kind of way has definitely prepared me to think differently. And the students that I'm going to be dealing with now are not vastly different. They may just be justice involved, and we have some justice involved students on campus now. May in different ways, but it just gave me an opportunity to learn and grow. I know who I am and how I communicate as well. I think that's one of the things that I've learned too, is how I communicate with other people. And how to listen to other people. And I think that's key as well, because if people want to come to you and confide in you and tell you about their personal life, you got to have an ear to hear. You got to listen to
Hmm.
what they're saying. You got to genuinely have an open heart to hear them. And I think that's something else that I've been able to learn in this role. Well, that's prepared me for this role.
Nice. And some people may not know exactly, so perhaps you can explain it, what NCREI is as a
Yeah,
whole.
Yeah, so NCREI is the National Center for Racial Equity and Inclusion. And so what we do here is to assist communities and organizations basically in their efforts to strengthen diversity and equity and inclusion, right? And so we also want to bring in more awareness to different things. DEI is a huge topic right now. And so DEI
Hmm.
can consist of so many things: diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? So we all want to feel a part. And it's not just in the workforce, it's personally. It's how you deal with people on your job, or it's how we can be inclusive in our communities. How we can go out and give a lending hand to our communities who may be struggling. So even health awareness, like criminal justice involved, access fairs. It's to give more of us to different people. Because especially in our community, a lot of people, they don't know how to find resources, and then when they do
Hmm.
need resources, they don't know where to go. So here I think it's a pivotal point to have it here in 46218, and to be able to usher in those people who may need those different resources. And it's not just for our students though. Like, we are literally external. So we're looking at those, we're trying to bring communities in. So people from outside of our school, bring them inside of our school, and to lend a helping hand. And if they want to get registered, that's great. But it's we know college is not for everyone. So we still want to, it still is our responsibility to make sure that some people have what they need. And it may not just be education. It may just be, hey, I'm struggling with lupus. What do I need to do? I'm struggling with Alzheimer's. What do I need to do? Hey, I'm justice involved. I'm having a hard time with getting my record clean. What do I need to do? Or I'm having a hard time finding work. What do I need to do? So those are type of things that we're wanting to assist and bring out of the NCREI.
I like that. I know you just said how NCREI is bigger than just the institution, and you branch out to people that are within the 46218 area. So, with that being said, what are your goals this year? What would you like to target within your role? Because I'm sure this is a brand new role entirely. So, this is all up to you. There's no right or wrongs. Like you set the tone for it.
Yeah.
So, what will
Um,
you do with this?
there's a lot of things. Obviously, right now we're working on HSE, so I think that's the key is bringing in students who just at the very minimum who do not have a high school equivalency degree or GED is what is was once named for, but those students who just don't have the basic education. So it's one, it starts there, and then two, I want to be able to bring in second chance fairs. So those students who may, or just people in general, so those who may have been, who are justice involved, and they have had interactions with the justice system, like I said previously, they don't know what they need to do to move forward. So I want to bring in another fair. I know prior to me being in this position, there was a second chance fair. I want to say a year ago, and so David and I, we talked about how we can improve that. I want to be able to show people in our community that police officers are not all bad. That we may need them in our community, and especially in 46218. We have the highest crime in the area in Indianapolis. So those are a couple of things I want to bring in. So it starts with those two, getting the general education as far as GED, HSE, right? And then showing those students, okay, you have this now. How can you get your record clean? How can you have a more sustainable, fulfilling life? After this, how can you move forward and get a job, or even just personally start a family, become a better person? Mental health obviously is definitely something that we want to push out from DEI. So there's a lot of those things that they all can just touch each other. So those are the type of things that I'm looking to do. Like I said, seminars as well. Having a panel of police officers just come in and just talk to our community, because we've had um, those who unfortunately passed away from a police interaction. So we want to be able to bring that conversation to the forefront, because some people still fear that, they have their own opinions, I would say. So just bringing those awareness to our community.
Nice. And what goals do you have for yourself for this organization as we move forward in the year of 2023?
I just want to be able to create a foundation of what it looks like in the NCREI. I want to be able to show that this is a need and it's real, and that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than Martin University. It's about our community as a whole. So creating a foundation of what we have and what we can build off of going forward. And just looking back and seeing how fruitful it can be. Because it's pivotal. It's important to have. So for right now, I think that's just the biggest one, is just laying the foundation, and just, I guess, learning from myself, from my past experiences, of how I can better be a leader, in this position. So
Nice. I think you hit it right on the nose about wanting to build a foundation, especially within a community that looks like you, talks like you, creates people just like you. For somebody that is interested in contacting you or wanting more information on NCREI, how can someone contact you? How do they reach you?
for sure. So my desk number is 317-917-3626. My Martin email is jd, as in dog, Johnson at martin.edu. So those are the two ways people can get in touch with me.
And is there anything else you would like to share with the viewers or people that might tune in a little later and they're watching this at home or anywhere at lunch on their lunch break? How would they, you know,
For sure.
go about it?
I would say just the NCREI is here for you. This is another component. It's an external component from Martin University. And we still lend a hand to our current students too. But it's just not for our current students. And I don't want that to get misconstrued. It's for everybody in our community. And when we have events and when we have seminars, it's for everyone. So it's not just for our students or our faculty and our staff. We're trying to touch everybody in the community because, again, our community, we're suffering from a lot of things, mental health, trauma, education, incarceration, death. We're struggling from a lot of things. So we want to bring those topics to the forefront. And how do we move? How do we maneuver? How do we get around those things? And how do we move our life forward? Because we can. And so I think that's the important piece there is we are here for you. Simple.
And does NCREI have a website?
Yeah, it is. So it's www.ncrei.martin.edu. So www.ncrei.martin.edu.
A lot of these resources and events and things of that nature be on this website.
For sure. And you can also go to the website and subscribe using your email. And so we push out a newsletter every week on Wednesdays. And it's just about the upcoming events that we have for the month and the months ahead. And so, yeah, so if you subscribe to that email, then you'll be able to have an opportunity to gain more access to what we are doing at NCREI.
Thank you. Well, I thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year. I know this is a new transition for a lot of people. A lot of people may be watching and they're going through a transition too for a new role, exiting from the previous role. So I do thank you for being able to share your knowledge and your expertise with the Martin community.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having you. It was a pleasure talking to you about this. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, we'll definitely have to do this again soon, hopefully with some updates, with some events going on, get some people out, all that good stuff. But until then, guys, thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Live with Martin Yu. I'm your guest host, Antia King, and I'll see you same place, same time, right here next week on Let's Talk Live with Martin Yu. Bye.
I was a little fearful when I started, but my goal was to become an attorney. I want to be that beacon of light to help them out of situations that they find themselves in and cannot afford an attorney.
With Martin being that one hidden jewel in the city, you drive past it every day, I stopped, and that chance turned into reality.
It will allow you to live out the dreams that you may not have even known were there.